We actually have working Punk for you today, Spright Evil Twin, and it looks like we have some more Gimmick Puppet action for you, along with the rest of the meta. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Now, I do want to point out here, even though, we went through the whole Infinite Forbidden sneak peek and all of the kind of craziness that came along with that event, we had some, what we're going to call the old reliables out here, the old guard, still kind of showing up and being a representative challenge out here. Now, this is just actually pure punk. We're not actually dedicating any of the gold pride stuff that you saw a lot of the former builds actually playing out here, which, by the way, I did like those cards a lot. I do think Gold Pride with Punk was a very refreshing thing, but, you didn't need the large insanity that kind of came with it, you know what I mean? This deck is also dedicating a Kashtira package to the equation so you can be able to do your thing, and this build is also playing crossouts. With the crossouts, though, your hand trap lineup does kind of get a little bit interesting here. You have a Droll in here, you have double Ash, double Veiler, double Mourner, and of course, the one Ogre with two Nibiru. It's kind of when you get in to the, we're going to call it the creative deck building side of things here, where, you're trying to roll these very consistent cards to kind of maintain a nice little push for you to be able to do your thing. While, sometimes maybe things don't necessarily kind of go, maybe in the way you knew. I don't know, I kind of feel like I want more hand drops, but looking at this, I don't really feel like you have places that you can, make the changes for those hand traps to make it really worth your time. You have to make, once again, some decisions here along the way of, what's going to be the most optimized choice, what is going to carry me to the best victory. And I think extending out the Punk package the way that we are, and we're using that as our base, but I can understand why this got top 8. Unfortunately, if you're getting gate kept by the best decks in the room, sometimes not really a lot you can end up doing there. All right, we have actual evil twins. Well, first of all, it's kind of refreshing to actually see the Kishi, Skill, and Lila in the main deck. I feel like even in the more standard builds, this was just getting pushed around on the side, and most people were just like, not really much of a reason to be approaching this. Understandable. I feel like that is an acceptable thing. Also, 45 cards for this. That's an extremely heavy variation of things here, especially when you're you have to maximize these evil twins in order to get the best ratios of things so you can do the thing. And then, of course, the one frost with the one treat. Let's be honest here, having those sub-variations of numbers can kind of run into some issues here. Now, we do have the Spright package in here. I like the Spright package a lot. This is going to be a very, very, very consistent thing for you. All right, being able to have these little guys extend on out for you so you can do your thing. Obviously, full Spright combo going to be really good. Ending on, the Troubled Sunny so you can do your thing. Going to be really, really solid. Extra deck options. The Downward's fine. I think the Zeus is all of this is pretty normal. Of course, the Ninja Mosquito being your little assistant friend as well. Like I said, the only thing that kind of feels a little bit weird was, we opted for, dropping a droplet to play a Change of Heart, which I think is fine. And then to top things off, the rest of the ratios feel fine. I can't... See, when you get into deck building like this and you're looking at the certain ratios in terms of deck building here, you kind of have to make some sacrifices. Maybe one carrot, maybe one red. I don't recommend that because you want multiples of these so you can do your thing. You're not dropping the MP Meow Mine. This card is really, really good. A lot of people underestimate just how much value that this card can kind of bring to you as an extension option and an answer to some things. Okay. We have Gimmick puppets for you here. I have seen so many Gimmick puppet builds right now. I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to kind of handle itself out of the NEWCQ, just kind of for what it is. The non-responsive little baby down here. Remember, your opponent cannot activate effects or cards in response to the activation of your Gimmick puppet monsters and effects this turn. Yeah, being able to not get hand trapped is, I think, by far one of the biggest BMs that you could ever actually not want to deal with in Yu-Gi-Oh! Also very interesting, they're only playing one copy of the Terror Baby, only 2 copies of the Scissor Arms. I feel like ratios here are a lot more optimized than you're used to seeing. You need to be able to go second. Actually, the Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood here, giving you that life point increase definitely assures that you're not going to possibly die. Also, this also might inconvenience your opponent to play really bad, and I like that, especially going first. You sit down, you play your first game, and then you Spooky Dog with them. Maybe your opponent not having knowledge of you playing Gimmick Puppets is going to slow down and not give you, the 20,000 life points that a lot of these combos would be giving. That's huge, actually. If this card is acting as a mini Max C, congratulations. You've done your job. Other real things, one Chaos Force I think is fine. I do like the 2. I understand why people do like to challenge and play the 2. The crossouts I think are absolutely mandatory. Like, if you're trying to play Gimmick Puppets, you need this card to be able to do the thing. And if not, you're just going to have an absolutely horrible time. Yeah, well, congratulations to the Gimmick Puppet variations out here. This deck is an incredibly scary choice for the meta, and a lot of people are just going to be very off-put by it. Next up here, we have, oh boy, Fiend Smith. Full combo. So if you want to know what, the scariest deck in the room is going to look like here, this is kind of what you're looking at. The fact that, full Fiend Smith combo, you have the Ubel lines, you're doing 1-1 on these, which, we've come so far right now. Now we've stripped down the Ubel package to a 1-1. I miss when you could play, the Ultimate Nightmare and be able to have it as, a stepping stone so you could do your thing. It was incredibly good. We also have the Double Spirit Ubel, still doing the Triple Nightmare Throne. There are people that are trying to cut Nightmare Throne down to 2, but I think that this card is it's the heart and soul of the deck. Like, this is everything that you want. Other major victory points here. I do like the crossouts here. Having this as a defensive option to be able to tear through your opponent is going to be your best friend. Do not underestimate this. This is also an interesting talking point down here. While you do have skill drain as a defensive option along the way, being able to chalice and turn off an effect monster on the field, or, oddly enough, sometimes the 400 boost actually can get you places. I think it's one of my favorite things in the whole wide world is the multifunctioning part of this card. Maybe forcing a Dice or Ice to, negate this is going to be really, really good. Or maybe, turning off an Unchained Dog in the mirror match. This card, I do think, will have some very interesting potential kind of heading on into the weekend here. And if you're not prepared for this, where you're like, oh, I didn't expect to see, Chalice. Yeah, understandably so. It's one of those cards that you look at and you're like, huh? Where'd that come from? Yeah, it definitely has, the surprise factor of things. Definitely did not expect to see. Outside of that, this list, we're going to call it the standard approach to things. Not really all that surprising, but okay. Next up here, we have, Tenpai. For all of the crazy innovations, for all of the crazy things that is to come, I will tell you that you need to be prepared for this deck. Interestingly enough, no Genrokus, none of that extra clunky stuff, which is kind of funny, actually. I just kind of feel like we slapped ourselves into a time machine here, and we're like, off to the races. Good old Reliable out here, getting the chance to do its thing. Interesting. I will say, the Super Polys I do think are pretty strong still. Being able to rely on that board breaker presence to push on through and punish your opponent is 150% going to be absolutely devastating for what you need to see. Also, the crossouts push down here to the side deck. These are going to be pretty good. Outside of that, you have a lot of things to think about in terms of deck builds for Tenpai. Especially, if you're main decking Double Dark Hole here, you got to think about, is this going to get, the best result, in terms of word breaker? Will a 2-2 split here get me those optimized numbers so that I can be able to punish my opponent? Answer is depends. I do like the Dark Hole, but I also like the Forbidden Droplet here as well to kind of bring you a good close for what you want to be seeing here. So, what do you guys think about everything? Whew. Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.